Good morning students, I hope you all are doing well. My name is Kanika. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss the remaining concepts of object-oriented programming languages. This video is for both CS and IP students of class 12. So let's begin. So in the previous video, we have talked about object-oriented programming. What is object-oriented programming? What are class? What are objects? And encapsulation. Now we are going to discuss other aspects or other basic concepts of OOPS. So next we are having is data hiding. Now as the name suggests, data to hide the data. So the basic mechanism of hiding the data of a class from outside world, or to be precise from other classes. So when we have some data which we do not want it to be shared with other classes, then that is called as data hiding. This is done to protect data from any accidental or intentional access. When we do not want our data to be accessed by any other class, then this data hiding comes into use. In most of the object-oriented programming languages, encapsulation is implemented through classes. We have learned in previous video that encapsulation can be implemented using the classes. In a class, data can be made private or public. Private data or a function of a class cannot be accessed from outside the class, while public data functions can be accessed from anywhere. As we have discussed in the previous tutorial, that the data members or the data types inside a class can only be accessed by the functions or the data members or the data functions from the functions and the member functions of the same entity, right? So we can also provide some keywords. If you study Java or if you study classes in Python, it is not in your syllabus, I'm just giving you an idea. So there are you can say two access modifiers. Access modifiers means कि आप उस data को public रखना चाहते हैं या private रखना चाहते हैं. So private data, if you write private, if you give assign your data is private, so it cannot be accessed outside the class. आप उसको class के बाहर access नहीं कर सकते. It is applicable for both data types and functions. Or if you provide your data as public data, if you use the coding such that you make your data public, it can be accessed from anywhere. So any other class or any other member outside that entity or outside that box can use that data. So data hiding can be done by using private or public. So data hiding is achieved by making the members of the class private. So if you make the members of the class private, it will not be accessed outside the box, outside that entity. Access to private members is restricted and is only available to member functions of the same class. So same members can only access their data, and outside the world no one can access that data. Next come data extraction. Now do you know the inner details of a monitor or your PC or your computer? You know how your mobile behaves when a call is received. क्या होता है उसके अंदर, what hardware, what software is involved? No, just calls come on your phone and you simply pick it up. You are not bothered about what is happening behind it, or you have to do some hardware or software. You don't need to do any hardware or software setting every time you receive a call. So this is called as abstraction. The process of identifying and separating the essential feature without including the internal detail is called abstraction. Abstraction basically means showing you only the necessary details which are required for the user end, right? And identifying and separating the essential features and not including the internal details. आपको internal detail नहीं पता लगती उसमें कि how things are working. So that is data abstraction. Only showing the world the necessary details which they need and not the details which are not required for the user to understand. Only the essential information is provided to the outside world while the background details are hidden. Classes use the concept of abstraction. A class encapsulates the relevant data and functions that operate on data by hiding the complex implementation details from the user. They hide all the complexity of coding, right? अगर आप जो एक app use कर रहे हो, it has thousands or sometimes even lakhs of lines of code. So you don't need to deal with that lines of code. You just simply open WhatsApp, or you can message anyone, or you can accept the call. The user needs to focus on what a class does rather than how it does it. What a class does, कैसे क्लास क्या काम कर रही है, ना कि कैसे काम कर रही है. हमें उस चीज के बारे में नहीं जानने की जरूरत होती. Let us take an example of mobile phone class. The class or the body of the mobile phone is abstraction. In this case, it is public interface through which a user interacts. As I told you कि मोबाइल फोन्स आपको सिर्फ यूज है, आपके पास कॉल आया, मैसेज आया, यू सिंपली रिप्लाई टू दैट. आपको उसकी हार्डवेयर में क्या हो रहा है, सॉफ्टवेयर में क्या हो रहा है, या आपको पहले उसको खोल के उसके हार्डवेयर में कोई सेटिंग ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं करना पड़ता, राइट? Abstraction and encapsulation are complementary concepts. How they are complementary? Through encapsulation only we are able to enclose the components of the object into single unit and separate the private and public members. It is through abstraction that only the essential behavior of the objects are made visible to the outside world. Now how they are complementary? Abstraction means only showing the necessary details to the world, and encapsulation means keeping the objects and the functions together, keeping the members and the functions together. So it is through abstraction that only the essential, abstraction हम कैसे करते हैं? Abstraction is possible only the essential behavior objects are made visible to the outside world. So we can say that, and encapsulation का क्या मतलब है? Encapsulation means enclosing the components of the object in single unit and separate the private and public members. So we can see that encapsulation is a way to implement data abstraction. So data abstraction can be implemented using encapsulation only, because for data abstraction you need encapsulation, and जब encapsulation रहेगा then you can provide data is private or public. In an example of class student, only the essential information like roll number, date of birth, goals, etc. of the students are visible. The secret information like calculation of grades, allotment of examiners, etc. is always hidden from the student. So this is an example of abstraction. Next is inheritance. It is the most useful characteristic, most useful. Now what does it mean? It enforces reusability of code. Reusability means the code can be used again and again. So inheritance is the process of forming a new class, derived class from an existing class. So you can completely use the existing class जो पहले से ही exist करी, you can use that class into a new class. So this way you are reusing the code. So let us understand this with an example. For example, a mobile phone is a class. Now I want to create my bifurcation such as window phone. I want to make window phone another class, Android phone another class, iPhone another class. But that Android phone, iPhone and window phone will also have model, color and price, right? So instead of creating new data variables separately for each of these mobile phones, I can inherit mobile phone. I can inherit the mobile phone into them. That means inherited means like if you see in biology, you have inherited characteristics of your parents. Like sometimes it's like your nose is like your father, or you sometimes heard from your relatives that ये तो अपने बिल्कुल पापा पे गया है, मम्मा पे गया है. So that is what is inheritance, when you inherit some characters from your parent. Similarly, in this part inheritance, I inherit some of the characteristics, some of the features from the previous existing class into the करंट क्लास, राइट? अब जैसे मॉडल, कलर एंड प्राइस मुझे विंडो फोन के अलग से देने की जरूरत नहीं है, आई कैन यूज दिस. सो क्लास मोबाइल इज अ पेरेंट क्लास, विंडो फोन, एंड्रॉइड फोन एंड आईफोन आर दी चिल्ड्रन क्लास और चाइल्ड क्लासेस. ओके, एंड अदर नेम फॉर पेरेंट क्लास इज बेस क्लास एंड दीज आर द डिराइव्ड क्लास. व्हाई डिराइव्ड क्लास? बिकॉज दीज हैज बीन डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम द अबव क्लासेस. Such hierarchical classification helps to obtain a new class from an existing class. The derived class can also contain some new attributes of itself. Obviously, आपके सारे characteristics आपके parents से match नहीं होते. You have some your own characteristics also. So similarly, in this also the derived class, as you can see, iPhone can have its own function also. Like it has its own version like iPhone 8, 9, 10, 11. But Android phone के 8, 9, 10, 11 versions नहीं होते. It has different way of denoting its version. So that is a different characteristic of iPhone. So it can have its own data members other than the parent or the base class. For example, an iPhone will have all the features of mobile phone class in addition to its own characteristic. Such a relationship between two classes is a kind of relationship. For example, iPhone is a kind of mobile phone. So this was about inheritance. Next come polymorphism. Polymorphism derives from two words. Poly means many and morph mean form. So polymorphism is the ability to use an operator or function in various forms. When you can use one thing into many forms. Okay. So the first example we have operator overloading. So in class 11th you have studied there is a plus operator. Now what happens when you use this with integers, say 8 plus 9. So output will be 17. And if you use with Python plus programming, so what will do, it will concatenate or it will print these together, Python programming. So this is an example of operator overloading where you can use one operator in more than one base. Next come function overloading. You will study functions in coming classes. So what is a function? Function is basically a set, you can say a reusable code which can be used later. Okay. So for example, if I have different types of functions, say definition test, def test AB. AB are the parameters which are being passed. Parameters are being passed. We will study functions in detail later. You just understand that all these have same name, test, 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 but they are different. Why? Because the parameters which we are passing in them are different. So this is also a type of function overloading, of where you have same name for all the functions but they all are performing differently. As you can see, first test function is printing hello, second test function is returning the value of a plus b, and third is returning the value of a plus b plus c. All are performing different functions, but all are performing different tasks, but their name are same. So this is also type of polymorphism. Here it is must be taken into consideration that Python does not support function overloading as shown above, although languages like Java and C, C++ do so. If you run the code of 3 test functions, the second test function will override the first one. Subsequently, the third test function will override the second one. That means if you give the function class test 2020, it will flash an error stating type error add takes exactly 3 arguments. This function overloading is not supported in Python. Kya hoga if what happens if you write this test and then you write this test function, define this test function, so it will override the previous test function. Okay, so it will create an error. So this functionality is not supported in Python, but it is very well supported in C++, C and Java. So you can say that Python understands the latest definition of function tense which takes the 3 argument. Okay. Next comes static and dynamic binding. Binding is a process of linking the function call to the function definition. So in the above what you have seen, there are function definition. आप उसको function को define करते हो, then you need to call that function wherever you use it. Wherever you want to use it. The body of the function is executed when the function call is made. Binding can be of 2 types, static and dynamic. In static binding, the linking of function call to the function definition is done during compilation process. When the program is getting compiled, then this is done. Whereas in dynamic binding, it is done at runtime. I hope you know the difference between compilation time and runtime. Please Google it or study if you have revised, if you have studied it, and try to Google what do you mean by compilation time and what do you mean by runtime, and how these two types are different from each other. Next come advantages of OOPS. So now what are the advantages? It provides simplicity. Simplicity means OOPS are close to real world objects, so the complexity of the program is reduced, making the program more structured. Right? You can make more structured program. For example, by looking at the class mobile phone, you can simply identify with the properties and behavior of an actual mobile phone. This makes the class mobile phone very simple and easy to understand. So you can provide a proper structure which is in a more understandable way. Next is modifiability. That means it is easy to make minor changes in the data representation of the procedure in OO programming. You can make the changes very easily. It is not a tedious task to do. Changes inside a class do not affect any other part of the program, since the only public interface that the external world has to a class is through the use of methods. You can make any kind of changes and it will not affect the outside world, because you might have used data abstraction or data hiding. Next is extensibility and maintainability. Maintainability. It is quite easy to add new features and extend program in case of object-oriented programming. Right? It can be simply done by introducing a few new objects and modify some existing ones. You can use your objects, you can make your objects according to your need, and you can maintain them very easily. The original base class need not to be modified at all. आपको जरूरी नहीं है कि उसके main functions में कुछ change करना पड़े. Sometimes you can only modify the objects and your task can be done. Even objects can be maintained separately, thereby making locating and fixing problem easier. For example, if a new version of iPhone is introduced, a new derived class of class iPhone for the new version may be created, and no other class in the class hierarchy needs to be modified. For example, every year, iPhone is launching its new version or new version of iPhone. So you need not to change the basic mobile phone class or the iPhone class. You can just add a new object or a new class as a derived class of the base class iPhone of that version. So you need not to change it, and it is very easy to maintain. Similarly, if any behavior of Windows changes, maintenance has to be done only for the Windows phone, and you need not to change the mobile base class. Reusability, as reusability is provided, as we have learned that inheritance provide that feature, functions provide that feature. So class definition can be reused in various applications. Inheritance makes it possible. It forces more thorough data analysis, reduces development time, and ensures more accurate coding. Next comes security. Now, since a class defines only the data it needs to be concerned with, when instance of that class is run, the code will not be able to accidentally access the program data. This characteristic of data hiding. We have learned that it provides us data hiding, and we can do that by using access specifiers such as public or private. So security is also provided by OOPS programming. So this was all about object-oriented programming languages, and these were the basic concepts which you need to know. They can be asked in your paper or they cannot be, but they can definitely be asked in your Viva. So please go through them, understand them, try to differentiate between each of them, and if you have any doubt, feel free to ask me. You can comment your doubt in the comment box below. That doubts will be discussed in the doubt session of the coming week, or you can directly ask me your doubts in the doubt session. Thank you.